G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an insight as to what I'm doing out here near the garage. I am setting up some timber here, some merbau, whatever you like to call it. Now these are 90mm decking boards, essentially very similar to what, in fact, these are offcuts from my deck. It was only just redone not so long ago that I did. So what I've done here is I've drilled 2 holes at either end at half of the width of this. So 46mm is half of 92, which is exactly what these boards are. So I've gone 92mm and halved it, and then I've gone 46mm from the end of the board, and I found a center point there. I've drilled a 10mm hole into that end and this end, and what I'm going to be doing is putting in these threaded things here. Let me get one. These guys here, and I'll see if I can do this while bear with me here. So they will sit in here like so, and they fit in there perfectly. And then they hammer down into that and become the thread for the spikes. So what's going to happen here is these boards are going to then be glued and screwed, because they're 600. I've also cut them at 600mm. So they're going to be glued and screwed up underneath my merbau platforms in there, and then the spikes will go on these. So I'm in the process now of drilling all of these. I've marked them all and I'm drilling them all now. And then I'll glue and screw them onto my platforms after I take my amplifiers off them, and then set the spikes up. So that's the process that I'm going into to doing this. And so I will keep going. I'll put the camera down and show you me drilling a couple of these out, and then we'll carry on and do the next stage of it. And I'll show you what's going on with putting the spikes underneath my platforms. It's a bit of a complex arrangement to get it to get good load bearing across the platform, which is what I'm looking for here. So anyway, I shall see you in a sec. Okay, so drill at the ready, hole marked in the timber, and we will start drilling. Okay, there's one side, and again, as I said, these little arrangements will just fit straight in here without any play in the hole at all, which is really good. And then they just will be hammered down into the timber, and that's how we'll get these sorted out. Okay, next end. And essentially, there you have it. There's our 2 holes. So I'll go on. I've already done 2. This is the 3rd board. I'll do the 4th one, and then we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now, I'll show you. I've done 3 of these already, and that is essentially putting these thread certs into my boards. So I'll go through and do the last one with you guys so you can see what's happening here. But 3 of them are done. As you can see. So we've got, there we go, those ends and those ends there. So I've done 3 of them so far, and there's a little method in this. So I'll show you the last one. So we're starting off with obviously a board with a hole in it like we saw before, and I'll turn the camera around now so you can watch what's happening. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is get some urethane. So this is essentially multi-purpose sealant urethane, and we're just going to squeeze a bit of a dob out of the end of this, and we're going to cover the hole like that. So then we'll go up to the other end. We'll do the same thing there. So essentially, we've got 2 dobs of urethane there and there. Next thing we'll do is get one of our little guys here, and we'll sit it right on top of that urethane. Grab our hammer. So what we're looking for is we're looking for it just to sit down flush, and for us to get a little bit of squelch, if you like, out of that urethane that's in that section there. Then obviously I'll get a little bit of thinner on a rag, and as you can see, we've got a nice flush fit in there with the urethane underneath it, just to double insurance, lock it in. We'll do the other one up this end. So we'll sit our little guy in over the hole so he's flush. Grab our hammer. When we get that little squelch through there, we know that we've touched down on the board, and it's just a matter of wiping any excess off, cleaning everything up, and then as you can see, we've got a nice flush fit on the end of the board there, and we're ready. Essentially what we can do, and I can show you this right now, let's get some spikes out here, and there we go. There she is, our spiked board. Now these will glue and screw on the bottom of the platforms, and we'll have a spike at either end, and we're set to go. So that's this stage. The next stage will be the gluing and the screwing of these boards onto the bottom of the platforms. So thanks for watching. Talk soon. Okay everyone, here we go. This is the next phase of this, and that is moving these 85 kilo amplifiers up and out of the way. This is what I've got sitting underneath them. 3 down either side of the Stack Audio Ulva EQs. These are the 3s, so there's handling the weight of this 85 kilo amplifier. So I've pulled this one sort of up out of the way so you can get a closer look, but I've just slid this one forward, and there we go. That's how it's sitting in the space. Now we're going to obviously pull all these EQs off, and we're going to get those boards out, and we're going to fit the sections that we made in the previous video to these today. So this goes to show you there's a fair bit of work here, and it's pretty scary stuff, because if one of these amps gets away from you, it'll take a whole lot of paint off my Wilson speakers or off my rack, and I don't really want that. So it's always a nerve-wracking experience when you've got to move these amplifiers at all. So anyway, that's this part. We'll get the EQs off the plinths now, and then get these bottom boards mounted to the plinths. Okay everybody, so this is essentially what I'm looking to do here with these boards. Turning them upside down, and essentially putting these these spines, if you like. Now, I've set the gap at 50 mil, and if we check here across there, you can see we're 50 mil in from the board on both sides, on both outer sides here, and that seems to be a good spot. Oops, a good spot. I'll set that up again properly. But essentially that just shows you that's what we're looking to do here. And then you'll see, obviously that's what we'll see from when it's turned upside down. I'll put some oil across these edges, which is the only part from underneath that we'll see. So the plan here is to put countersink 2 screws in here, 2 screws in here, and 2 screws up here on each board. So 6 screws down each board I think will be enough to tie all this together, and they'll also be urethaned. So I'll turn one of these boards over when we do it, and I'll urethane all the way along here, then set the board up at 50 mil and screw them down. So that's the next section of this. So I'll get all the bits and pieces ready, and we'll move on to the next stage. Okay, so here we go. I've urethaned 2 of these. I'll just do this one and show you. Just essentially smearing some urethane around on the boards, and then what I'll do is I'll turn the boards over. I'll set them up at 50 mil in from each side, and then we'll clamp them down with the clamps here, and then I'll start screwing or pre-drilling holes into the hardwood, and then we'll put some stainless steel screws in them, and that'll be one done. So stay tuned for the next bit. Okay, so here we go. One is set up, and I've just clamped it down, and if we get hold of our 50 mil, you can see we're spot on there, we're spot on there, and we're spot on there. So that's the first one done. So I'll start drilling this now, and setting up for the stainless steel screws to go in. Okay, so next section is done. I've drilled the holes in where I want them to be. Then on the drill bit, I've used one of these little arrangements, and we've got nice sort of set up now for the screws to go into the timber. So that is that next stage. We'll screw them down next. Okay, so here we go. You can see now we've got the first one screwed down in place. I'm using stainless steel decking screws, seeing I'm using decking boards essentially. And there it is there. That's what you'll see from the front. So yeah, so that's the first board down. I'll do the second board over there next, and then we'll screw some spikes down and see what it looks like. Okay, here we go, folks. One is done. There it is. You can see the spikes are in place there at both ends. We've got that board essentially done. I've just got to oil the ends that you're going to see, and we've got one in place ready to go. One down, one to go. Okay, everybody, well, here we go. First amplifier is ready to go. We're sitting down on the spikes. The platforms are nice and level, and that is my spacing for Alva EQs, the CSA 3s, and so that will fit perfectly across the amplifier, laid out properly. The platform is exactly where I want it to be. I've stood on the platform and spiked them right down through the carpet. So next trick is to try and get this 85 kilo monster up on top of those CSA 3s from Stack Audio.